Welcome back to the executive chair, guys. I am so excited. March is here, and we are celebrating Women's History Month all month long. And I have some powerhouses that I am bringing to you guys. Charlotte is such an amazing city and full of talent and business owners and women who are really doing their big ones. And I cannot wait for you guys to meet the entire lineup that I have coming. So today I have someone special in the building that even if you don't know her name, you've seen her work before. As a luxury event design company known for transforming ordinary rooms into absolutely illustrious experiences. She is a military wife and also a mom who has taken her passion and turned it into a full-fledged business. I mean teams, I mean traveling. She's not just in Charlotte. She is everywhere. She is a florist and specifically was the Love is Blind florist when they shot in Charlotte. Today, you guys, I am so excited to bring to you Valerie Brooks of Expressions Floral Designs. Hey, Val.
Hi.
How you doing, girlie?
I'm doing good.
Man, listen, when I reached out to you, I must say I was nervous. Okay. And we've met before. I took a couple of your floral classes and they were absolutely amazing. I must say that my home floral arrangements have gotten better. Now they're not yours, but they're better.
Well, that's good.
They're definitely better. But your business is not just one dimensional. Like you do rentals, you curate events. Matter of fact, you have one coming up this week.
Yes.
You do weddings and not just local weddings, like you travel as well. So I had to have you come in and talk about your business and talk about your strategy and how you got started. So I appreciate you saying yes. Thank you.
Thank you for thinking of us.
Listen, this could not be done without you. Let me say that, okay? So before we get started and get into the nitty gritty, I have some lightning round questions.
Okay.
Just to warm you up. Now, they mean nothing from nothing. Just want to know your personal preference and just to warm you up, okay? You ready?
Yes.
All right, y'all. The executive chair featuring Valerie Brooks of the Expressions Floral Design. Let's get started, y'all. This one's going to be good. All right, Val. So lightning round. You ready?
Okay.
Okay. One or the other. You can't have both.
Okay.
Okay. All right. First one is going to be sell on social media or sell face to face during a networking event.
Face to face.
Face to face. Okay. So that means you're a seller because a lot of people, they don't do well face to face. So
I don't know if that means I'm a seller. I just like to be more personal.
Absolutely. More intimate.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm here for that. Perfection or progress? There is no wrong answer.
Progress.
Progress. Okay. All right. I'm here for that. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Okay. All right. A shot or a lemon drop?
A lemon drop.
A lemon drop.
You should have put espresso martini in there, but I'll take the lemon drop.
Listen, I am not a shot girly in any way. One shot and I am asleep in the corner. So no, that does not work for my life. Let me say, are you a planner girl? I think I know the answer in this one. Are you a planner girl or I'll figure it out as I go? There's no wrong answer, Val. No wrong answer.
I would like to be a planner girl, a little bit more of a planner girl, but I'm also very much a figure it out as we
go. Listen, it's called pivoting. We do what we have to do. There's nothing wrong with
ADHD.
Okay. Listen, I love the authenticity of it all. I do. It makes my life better. Hard lesson or easy blessing? That's a tough one.
It is because you need both.
You need both. You do. To be honest, you need both. But which would you prefer?
I think the easy blessing.
Easy blessing. Okay.
Because everything doesn't have to be hard all the time.
It does not have to be hard all the time. I could not agree with you more. And last question is going to be brunch or dinner party?
Brunch.
Brunch? Okay. All right. I could do brunch, but are people getting dressed up for brunch, or are they just,
Depends on where you go to brunch.
Touche. See, that wasn't bad, was
No.
it? Okay, here we go. So let's jump in. So before Expressions Floral Design existed, like, who was Valerie Brooks? Like, who were you before all of this got started?
So it's hard to say because when I first had the vision to start Expressions, I was 22.
Wow. Okay.
However, it wasn't what it is today, and it actually was more of a hobby. Okay. So as a single mom at that time, it just provided extra income for my daughter and I. Okay. Professionally, I've always worked in a nonprofit field. Okay. I've done fundraising. A big part of who I was helping other people. I've always liked to help people, so a lot of my jobs was public speaking, doing stuff in the nonprofit field, behavior therapy.
Wow.
And then I did the flowers on the side.
I had no idea. See, this is why this is good, because you get to learn more about, behind the business. Okay.
Yeah. So the flowers was just a hobby, but it was something that I've always have come back to. So as much as I want to say, oh, I'm finished with it, don't want to do flowers no more, if it's always come back.
It brings you back.
Yeah.
Every single time. So that's neat that you say that. So it's always been there. You've always been doing it. In terms of what was the moment, if you can remember, that you realized that somebody could actually pay me for this?
Well, I started out charging people, even though it was a hobby.
Pause. Okay, when did you realize I could be charging more to do this? Let me rephrase that.
When I came back from Germany.
Okay.
Because even when I started, so when we were stationed at Fort Jackson.
Okay.
I had started doing the flowers again, but more of like photo shoots. So just like a creative outlet. At that time, I was running a literacy program. And the flowers was like, okay, yeah, I can do a photo shoot. Oh, yeah, you need a bouquet. I'll do a bouquet. So I was like gradually getting back into the flowers and stuff. But it wasn't until it started to evolve more that I realized, oh, my goodness. And then actually it wasn't until like the tracking systems, because at that time I used PayPal to process my payments. And, I was working, so I wasn't really like doing the books like I really should be doing. And I was like, holy cow.
Wait a minute.
I was like, what the heck? Like, I didn't even realize how much I had, like, brought in. And I was like, wow. Like, and it always made me think back to, like, with my mom, because when I first had the vision to start doing flowers, my mom was like, no.
Okay.
She was like, we're not talking about this. You're going to go to school. You're going to do this. Because, like, I literally woke up one morning and was like, oh, I want to do flowers. I'm not going to go back to work. I'm going to go do flowers. I'm going to sell them here. And she was like, "One, you haven't finished school.
Yeah, no.
You're not going to do that.
Right.
And we're not going to talk about it and stuff." So it was kind of neat just seeing how much it actually did bring in, and being able to say, look, Mom, even though it was like years later.
It still happened.
Yeah.
It still happened. And that's interesting that you say that, because when I first started doing hair, I've been doing hair since I was in middle school. Truly enjoyed it. And I remember when my job ended and I had a conversation with my husband, I was like, I think I want to go to hair school. And I told my mom, and she was like, you don't like people. And I was like, well, yeah, you're right. I don't like people. Right. But, it's crazy how it evolves. And it just goes to show you that whatever's meant to be is going to be anyway. And especially if it's something that you love, and the creative side of what you do is just exceptional.
Thank you.
Like the bowls for Valentine's Day, where did that come from?
They just come, like, when I say ADHD to the fullest,
Val, no.
like sometimes stuff will just pop up, and I know like stuff will pop up, and I'll sometimes like obsess with certain looks and certain things. Like I think Valentine's Day, like I got into like that burgundy and mauve-y and everything was like so intense with those colors. So sometimes I do like hyper focus on certain stuff sometimes. But I mean, you draw inspiration from so many different, like anything can inspire you. And sometimes it's so funny because we do the sets at the set design studio.
Okay.
And sometimes when I send Cynthia stuff, like it'll be like random pictures.
It's like,
and
here we go.
I'll know in my head how I want it to all come together, what little piece may be inspiring me. But it's hard sometimes and to show other people, okay, this is how it all is coming together in my head.
I mean, I saw it on Instagram and I was like, this is just, it literally looks like something out of a magazine. Like, and that's a gift. That is such a gift. And I'm so impressed. You mentioned your mom saying no, we're not going to talk about it. But when you officially got started after you saw, the numbers, was there anything that scared you about getting started? Like, was there any fears you had in your heart?
No, because I was kind of doing it on the side. So it just grew.
Okay. And once it got to a place that, is taking up the majority of your time and paying the bills and some, then it was just like...
Well, no, because I was still trying to...
I was still trying to do both.
So during that time in South Carolina, after I left Girl Scouts, I started running a volunteer program for hospice.
Okay. All right.
I had my programs set up pretty much on autopilot.
Okay.
So, my volunteers would come in, train, do my community piece with the patients and stuff. And I still was able to balance.
Okay.
What made me kind of focus full time is when we moved to Charlotte.
Okay.
Because then I had to quit my job. Okay. But then I already was booked. Like I had already booked probably maybe 50 weddings already. So it just made sense.
So where was the majority of your business coming from? Was it word of mouth? Were you doing social media? Like, where was this influx of business coming from?
I think it was coming from all over. Social media, a good mix of word of mouth. Okay. We had did quite a bit of publications from our weddings and stuff.
Okay.
The unique thing about my followers, though, is they're everywhere. And as I'm trying to do more low-key stuff, like the classes and all, I'm finding that, the interaction with the people that want to come, they're not all here. So and we travel everywhere for weddings and stuff. So.
I know. I think that was Jamaica was the one that I saw recently. I was like, in terms of teams and logistics. Okay, so let me go back. Let me stay on task because I'm so excited. I have so many questions I want to ask you and I just need to stay focused, Lauren, ADHD. Okay, so what don't people understand about it just not being about florals? Like, explain everything that goes into let's say an event. Choose a wedding or choose your event that you have coming up this week.
So I think people don't realize a lot of people think with flowers, it's you get the flowers, you put them together. Right. But you get into the color theory, you get into, some of the floral, not every florist designs the same. Okay. There's some flowers you won't even see in our designs, just because that's not our look.
Okay.
So, those are some of the things that make each florist unique. But then you also get into design style because it's not just flowers. It's bringing the idea together, working with the client, finding what's the perfect fit. Also being able to identify, we have a certain look that we like to do, but not all clients can afford that look.
We're going to talk about that because the money matters.
Yes.
Okay? All right.
But still giving the same quality of a look, but on a scaled look. So it's so much different stuff that kind of goes into bringing the events together, picking the flowers, pricing, because you have to. So a lot of stuff is imported.
Mm-hmm.
You can get local stuff. Like now we're getting into the spring and stuff that you can get that's grown at local farms.
Uh-huh.
But like orchids, roses, some of those flowers, they're always going to be imported. And you got to price around because pricing does vary. Size of the flower varies. Length of the stem varies.
The length of the stem. I've never heard of that before.
At which goes into the price of the rose.
Wow.
Like it's just so many different factors that kind of take into account. And then people also don't realize on the flip end, like a color that I know gets confused a lot is like that purple and the blue.
Okay.
And sometimes if you're trying to get a blue, but they send you purple, but they're very similar colors.
Okay.
And so you have to know, like, depending on what flower, if you say you're looking for the blue variety, that blue variety truly may be a purple variety. So, you know, it's just so many behind the scene things that people don't think about. Temperature has to do with how some of the flowers come. I've had where I've ordered flowers and like I've ordered the same flower, 2 different farms, and the colors are different.
So has there ever been a wedding or an event where we're 48, 72 hours out and the wrong flowers came? Or the wrong colors.
Or they die.
Not they die.
Well, I mean, there's so many factors, like especially with imported stuff, and then it gets so hot here.
Okay.
And then the airline, you know, they leave the flowers out on the tarmac, even though it's like 90 degrees. And then, you know, we get them and we try, like, you have to know how to try and bring them back. But sometimes, depending on shipping, stuff can just get messed up. Mold can get in the boxes. Like, it's so many other things that people don't think about. But you just have to be able to pivot, being flexible. So,
I mean, but, you know, and that just goes into knowing your craft.
Yeah.
You know, like, for me, I feel like I know extensions. Like I know if that's Burmese, I know if that is single strand or double strand. But when you talk about the intricate pieces of flowers and stem length and temperature and texture and all of the environmental things that can go wrong, like that's like, are you ever have you gotten to a place in your business where you no longer panic?
No, I think you should never get to that place because you're not perfect. But, like, I mean, I'll always panic, but it's like, I mean, and I've cried at a wedding before. So, like.
That sounds like me. Like, I'll be in the corner like, oh, my God, they're not
And
perfect.
my daughter's like, stop it. Get it together. But, I mean, you just got to be able to pivot and being flexible.
Wow.
And booking clients that understand that, too. That's the other important thing because you do have, like, those very type A clients that they just want what they want, but if you can't get it or something happens, then you know you have to be flexible.
So since you opened the door, I'm gonna walk through that one. In terms of clientele, like, have you said no before? Have you had clients and you just was like, yeah, no?
I've had some that I've booked that later on I was like, hell no.
But isn't that freeing though? Like,
no, but I think it's knowing your client though, because I had a transition period for the past 3 years.
Okay.
Which I've been sharing more of it, or trying to share more on my timeline because I disappeared from social media a little bit.
I noticed that. Okay.
So I had stopped posting. Really was going to quit. So I don't know if this is the line we were going down.
Yep, that's exactly where we were going. Keep going.
But I actually was going to quit my business and just shut it down, like, because I just didn't care anymore. But during that transition, I also started bringing in clients that were not the perfect fit.
Okay.
Because, you know, at that point, I just was like, okay, I just want to pay my rent.
Right.
Because I have this lease here. And so you were getting the not so ideal clients that maybe couldn't really afford your service. And you tried to give them, and it'll show when you book those clients. Because,
and that's a whole nother headache.
Yeah.
So when you were at that place of, okay, you know what, never mind, what changed your mind?
What, when I was going to quit?
What changed your mind?
It's just been a journey. So I don't know if you know this. My mom passed.
Did not know that.
So my mom passed in the transition of when I moved to Charlotte.
Okay.
So with her passing, like we had moved here, but
Okay.
then she ended up passing once we got here.
Okay.
But I never grieved because I had,
Wow.
like, we did Love is Blind. We had the 50, 60 weddings. Like, everything was boom, boom,
Back
boom,
to
back
back.
to back to back.
Mhm.
So I was definitely growing
In the midst of
that, but never dealt with the emotional part. So
Wow.
what ended up happening was gradually I just started getting burnt
you
out.
burnt out.
And it was like I just started hating it.
Mm.
Like just pulling back and stuff.
And you know, that's why I feel like the Executive Chair podcast is so important, because people only see your Instagram reels.
Mm-hmm.
They only see the perfect pictures and the
Yeah.
excellently executed events. They only see literally what you show them,
Yeah.
right? But to be honest, and I appreciate you sharing that, because I did not know that, you know, truly my condolences to you and your family. We don't talk about that.
Mm-mm.
You know, you smile and nod and you push through and the invoice is clear and you go to the next thing without getting into a place of saying, wait.
Yeah.
Wait. You know, like the money is good, the business is good, but I need to be able to have some sanity in the midst of the quietness,
Yeah.
you know? So I appreciate you sharing that. And I did not know that. How did you step away, or did you just deal with it, grieve, and work?
I think like it was a forced step away.
Uh-huh.
Like it wasn't a direct step away, but it was like kind of give up step away. So I wouldn't say it was a step away. It was just like
I quit.
Emotionally enough, like not responding to calls, like just like done. Like so I guess that would be a step away, but not the step away you're supposed to step away.
Wow. See, I keep telling y'all, this is why this place exists. It exists for real business owners to tell their real story.
Yeah.
To share, you know, because you don't know who that story is going to impact, help, give validation for in a bad headspace, and they're like, you know, it just, as long as the rent clears, it's fine. And you lose your passion, and eventually you suffocate yourself out of your business. You know, like I appreciate that, and I thank you so much for sharing. In the midst of you, so now your clientele, we're no longer just accepting any and everybody anymore.
Nope, we're rebuilding. Just out there again. I've my creativity has came back.
Clearly.
I've always loved flowers. So like flowers has always been like
your
like
thing.
A deep passion. And it's funny though, because I was going to go back to work. And I had thought about it. I was like, well, I'm just going to go back to work.
Girl.
And I went through like 3 interviews for a job that I should have got because I did it before. But then I think, you know, when God puts you in these seasons and you're supposed to listen and kind of keep still, regardless that everything may look like it's lining up.
It don't
but if
even
it's
matter.
not meant to be, it's not.
Nope. And you know, I share this with my husband all the time. As an entrepreneur, your brain works different than everybody else's. You know, like we went to the Boys and Men concert yesterday or this past weekend, and we're driving in the parking lot of the parking garage that's behind Spectrum. Is I think it's like 10 or 11 floors high. And we're going up and we're going up and we're going up, and there are no parking spaces. And when we got into the parking garage, it was $25. And I said to my husband, we're like on row 7 or 8 now. And I'm like, how many $25 is this? You know, because that's the way your brain works.
Yeah.
And when you've been out of working for somebody for so long, and now you're like, okay, I can go back. But when God says no,
yeah,
it's no. And it's like you can't do it. And if you do it, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And you're not going to have peace.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, God, I'll do it your way. Your way's better. So, okay. All right. So let's talk about, we mentioned the clients, we mentioned that changing. What do you think is one of the biggest mistakes that new florists or event planners make? like now, sitting back and considering, your veteranship in the business, what are some mistakes that you think
I think as far as flowers, just not understanding them, because
Okay.
everyone thinks that it's so easy just to arrange. You cut them, put them in water, and you arrange them. But it's so much more to that. And then when you take on weddings and stuff, like, what do you do if something comes in dead? Like, you're thinking you can just kind of put some stuff together, but like, what do you do if it comes in dead? So just kind of like having that background other than just designing, but being able to understand just everything as a whole.
Okay. Now, are you still like doing the planning and putting the flowers together? Like, do you have a team? Like, what does that look like now for you?
So I don't do planning.
Okay. She's like, no, let me clear that up first.
Yeah, I
do not do planning.
Yeah, we don't do planning. We work with the planners
Okay.
to execute the design and bring the vision
Okay.
to life. But I have a team.
Okay.
And all of my team has pretty much been with me a long time.
Wow. Okay.
I've had some team members that have started their own business also.
Okay.
But when I bring people on, I kind of try to train them on the care for the flowers.
Okay.
Just like even down to the bucket. Like I always
Wow.
tell them, like, if you can't drink out of the bucket, the flowers can't drink out the bucket. Because,
Wow.
it
Okay.
starts with how you process them,
Okay.
how long they'll live and stuff. And that's why I always also tell people, because I've had people in our classes that'll say, they don't change the water on their flowers. And they want to know why they die.
Why they die in 2 days? Do you
And it's like
shower in dirty water?
Right, exactly. And that's kind of the stuff that I tell them, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't think about that." It's like, but it's down to like the basic stuff, just knowing like how to prepare, how to care for the flowers, and I started the basics, and then kind of go up with everybody that works with us.
Okay. So let's talk about Love is Blind real quick. Like how did that come about, and what was your reaction?
So I was excited. Definitely was thankful for the opportunity. I was nervous though, because at first they said it was going to be 5 weddings.
Okay.
In 1 week.
In 1 week?
Yeah, because the show starts out like the 5 couples could get married. So like when they reached out, it's like, well, if we have 5 weddings, would you be able to do them? And they're 5 different looks, so it's not even the same thing.
See, I didn't even know that. I thought that they were the same look. Wow. Okay.
And they also did it where it was more on the grander scale versus like
minimalist.
Yes. Yeah. So it was like, okay. But then as it got closer to the part where the weddings were, some of them weren't getting married. So it was like, okay, we're down to 3.
Okay.
Then it was like down to 2. And actually she thought it, like she kept going back and forth with the one couple that I can't remember names, but with the one couple that didn't get married.
AD. And I forget the other guy's name. Clay? AD and Clay.
Clay, yes. Like at first they were like, no, they're not going to get married. Okay. Then they were like, oh yeah, they are. And then they was like, well, we don't know. And so at that point, the week before, it was kind of like, okay, well, we're just going to do it. But it probably won't be a reception, because even the day of when we set the weddings up,
okay,
like in their instance, it was a no. So like it was just the wedding setup, and we were prepared that if we needed to do the reception, we would be there. But it was like very long days. We would get there like 6, 7 o'clock. Then the camera crew would come, and then once they adjusted the cameras and stuff, they would tell us, oh, well, you need to create something to cover this, or you need to do that. And so you had to be flexible.
Fly. Wow.
It was hot.
She said it was hot. Hot.
Yeah. I was kind of glad that it was a no on that second day, because the first day was the yes.
Yes.
So we were there all day.
Okay.
We had to move the stuff from the ceremony over to the reception space. So like we were there the whole day. And then the next wedding was the next day. That's why I'm so glad it wasn't 5, because for us to have been there all day.
For 5 days?
Yeah, it wouldn't have been possible. I would have been tired. And we had 2 weddings that weekend.
Oh, my God.
So
in addition to Love is Blind. So like after that aired and like everything was done and said, like how much did your business grow from that? Did you get more exposure from it?
It's hard to tell.
Okay.
It's
But I
hard to
mean, you were
tell.
already fabulous before it happened. So I
Well,
mean,
thank you.
like
Eh,
that was just another validation to
I know
say,
a lot of our brides was excited that we
okay,
were
because
doing their
that's a
wedding and
big deal.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, that's. Do you ever say to yourself like, "Wow, this is exactly what I wanted it to be."
So this is what I'll say, going back to the space I was
Uh
in.
huh.
So
Uh
when
huh.
I was scrolling through, like just past like content,
Mhm.
photos, of previous weddings
Uh
and
huh.
stuff, that's when, like, just looking back
You
through,
can see it.
and I was like, oh, like there's some good stuff.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But that's why I love social media because it's like I call it a visual diary.
Yeah.
Because you can see your highs, you can see your lows, you can see when you were like, at that point, I didn't give a shit. Like you
Yeah.
can
See it
see
all.
the
Yep.
transitions, which is really cool. And I think that other people may not see it, but you can
Right.
remember like the headspace you were in at that time and how things felt, and if you were in a creative space or not.
Yeah.
Let's transition just a little bit. Let's talk about family.
Okay.
How did your husband feel when you were like, okay, now is the time?
So it's always been a family business.
Okay, all right, I'm here for that.
Taylor was the first employee.
And Taylor is your baby.
Yeah, she's 23 now.
She's still Taylor. You still a baby. You still a
And she's
baby.
doing flowers in Hawaii, though, even though
What?
so many times she would slam my flowers on the table. And she's,
Now she's like handling them carefully.
yeah, because she used to always be like, I hate it here. And
I
like,
don't want to do
it's
this no
just a whole
more.
thing with her. So it is funny that, she's
Uh-huh.
there doing flowers.
Wow.
But my husband has always been supportive.
That's super cool.
Sometimes a little too supportive
I say
because,
that
like,
again.
he might
Okay.
be on the breakdown cruise sometimes and not want to be there. But,
Say that again.
definitely has, even when I didn't want to do it
Mm-hmm.
anymore, he's like, just take a break, think about it, always supportive.
And that's why I say, partnership is so important. Like who you marry, who you cleave to,
Yeah.
depends on your success or your failure.
Yeah.
Because just like you said, when you were in that breakdown phase and not caring and not in that space, he was like, okay, like step back.
Yeah.
Like never having a negative word
Nope.
makes a difference.
Now he's disgruntled some days.
Listen, they all can be, okay?
Because he's like, I don't understand why you don't have someone else over here helping lift this stuff.
Get somebody else to do it. I think they all say that.
But it's like always been all hands on deck, because I can even remember, like, with my team, everyone's very family oriented. So, like, the team that I've had for a long time, they're kind of like my kids also.
Love it. I love it.
So, and I can remember times when we've had all boyfriends on deck to help break down afterwards.
Everybody, all hands
Yes.
in. We got to get it done.
Yep.
We got to get it done. That is so neat. And so you talked about Taylor. She is in Hawaii.
Yes.
Okay. And how long has she been doing flowers?
If she was here, she would tell you she's been doing them all her life.
Taylor, you're happy. You just don't know you're happy. It's fine.
Well, I mean, it's paying her bills over there in Hawaii, so she's definitely happy. But even started like with having her clean the buckets, stripping the roses. Like, I mean, she's always helped. And I can remember when I first started my business in Maryland. I used to have her and my nephew helping with the setups. Like, the setups weren't as elaborate,
Right.
of course, as they
Right.
are now. So having an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old might not have been ideal now.
Help is help.
Yeah.
Okay? Help is help.
But definitely, when I left Maryland before I moved to Germany, I had my nephew trained where he could really set up a wedding pretty much on his own. Like, it was just clockwork. Taylor, not so much.
She was resistant.
Well, she would mimic me. So,
Okay.
like, you know how you put the flowers on the cake?
Uh-huh.
And she was little, so she would go try to put a stick in the cake. And, you know, she was doing stuff that I ended up having to leave her. But as she got older, like when
Uh-huh.
she got to middle school and high school, she definitely would help. So,
And now she's doing it. You know, like I always tell my husband, I said, you know, kids do what they see. You know, she saw
and
you.
she's doing more. Like, I told her the other day, I said, you know, if I wanted you to do the staffing, handle the contracts, the stem count, you would be like, no. I said, but you go to this lady's flower shop and you doing all this other stuff I didn't even know you knew how to do.
Taylor says it hit different now. It's different
Yeah,
now. You know, you work for your family, and then you're like,
right.
I'm gonna do this on my own now, my own
Yeah.
way. That is so cool. If a woman in Charlotte wanted to start a creative business like Florist, what would you tell her?
I would just tell her to follow her passion. That's the main thing that I always think about. Like, people always tell you, no, you shouldn't do this, da, 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 da. But like, I always, and of course our journey is our journey.
Absolutely.
But sometimes I do think back, you know, what if I had started back then, when I like truly started, when I had the vision, where would I be today?
But you know, it's all a part of the process.
No, it is.
You know, you I say all the time, you know, my mom wanted me to go to college, and I went to college after not being able to go out on Friday nights, and went to college and flunked out the first year. You know, like I loved hair, but in my brain I couldn't figure out how to turn it into a business. You know,
Yeah.
but all of these things that happen, life's journey leads you to where you're supposed to be at anyway.
Yeah, they do.
You know, like you just follow the journey, and it will complete itself. You just have to stay the course, you know? If they're for new florists, like what do you think is the most important piece of the business? Like the business side, or learning how to handle things in a stressful situation, like the flowers dying or like them not being the right shade?
I think the business side and knowing your craft.
Okay.
Because regardless to what the craft is, you want to be the best at it.
Absolutely.
So, you know, taking that time to actually fully understand and know it, so that you can educate others, be able to
Absolutely.
educate your clients, while at the same time handling the business side. Because a lot of times with creatives, you know, it's easy to focus on the creative
Absolutely.
space,
Right.
but
Right.
then you still have the other part that you have to do
Right.
too. So it's not just like sniffing the rose.
No, it's bigger than just smelling flowers.
Yes.
It's much bigger than that. It's much bigger than that.
Yeah.
Val, man, I appreciate you so much, and your journey is absolutely beautiful in every way. And I think that you sharing this time to explain, like, I was in a bad place, you know, and I kept going. You know, this vision was in my head at 22, and I didn't do it. You know, like all of these things are just so important, and because we can't see that on Instagram or on social media, that's why your story is so very important. You know, I appreciate you so much. In terms of people booking and consultations, and let's talk about your event. You got an event on the 6th, so let's talk about that.
So we have coming up Her Story in Petals,
Okay.
Which is our Women's History Month class.
All right. Women's History Month.
Just honoring like those who have poured into us, and having that conversation and being able to talk with other women about who has made us who we are today.
Okay.
So not just the flowers, but bringing in the flower piece, but being more intentional.
Absolutely.
And all of the classes we do are intimate.
They
so
are.
It's 10 to 15 people,
Okay.
which I like cozy, more personable, and you're just able to share and pour into each other.
I've taken her class myself personally, and it was extremely informative. My girlfriend Stacy invited me to a flower making class, and that's when I initially met you. And it was informative on every level, and it was intimate. And you took the time to explain. So on March the 6th, Her Petals.
Her Story in Petals.
Her Story in Petals is happening. Expressions Floral Design. You guys definitely check it out on Instagram and be a part of that event. Now, if people are looking to connect with you, contact you, what is the best way? Give them Expressions Floral Design.
So you can follow us on Instagram at expressions_floral designs, and that's expressions without the E.
Without the E, with the X.
Yes. And you can message us, and we have the contact form on our website as well.
Again, Val, I appreciate you. Thank
you.
Thank you so much to your husband. We thank you for being a supportive husband. And even though you are disgruntled sometimes, you and my husband need to have a support group so y'all can chit-chat, okay? Taylor, thank you for being good to your mom. Yes. And, now to see you doing your own thing like her is awesome, you know? The executive chair, guys, is a place where stories meet strategy and where conversations build legacy. Until next time, y'all, the executive chair.